back. I'm Michael Berryman, and this is Gorgon Video Magazine, Volume 2, our special Halloween issue. And we're loaded with heavyweights of horror. Director Stuart Gordon talks torture with The Pit and the Pendulum. Gorgon visits the set of Bride of Reanimator with Brian Yuzma. And the terrifying Penn and Teller invite us in for an eye-opening chat. We'll enter the surreal world of special effects artist Screaming Mad George and horrific comic master S. Clay Wilson. Plus, you'll meet Gorgon's own Galloping Gourmet with special effects recipes you can whip up in your own kitchen. And that's not all. So let's get cracking. I ain't got all day.
To Grover.
You killed him.
No, I did not.
I gave him life.
I don't think that there is a scene that is too bloody or too shocking for anyone to see. I think that if you could come up with that idea, you'd probably make a fortune, because that's what everyone is trying to do, is to shock people. My name is Stuart Gordon, and I make movies that amaze, astound, and make you lose your cookies. I did feel a loss when Empire went down, because Empire was always a terrific place to work. It was a lot of fun to be there, because you never knew what you would walk into. You'd walk into the lobby and there would be all of these half-naked starlets ready to audition for something, and you'd be walking past the audition room and you'd be hearing screams coming out of them, and people auditioning for horror films, and maniacal laughter and so forth. And you'd go up to the second floor and walk through the editing rooms, and you'd hear more screams coming out of each of them as you walk down the hallway. And sometimes the screams would be playing in reverse, and sometimes they'd be at fast speed, and so on. And then you'd get to the third floor, which is where all of the executive offices were, and there on the walls would be some incredibly bizarre artwork with some strange title, which you knew was going to be the next movie that you directed as soon as there was a script that somehow related to that poster. So there was never a dull moment in Empire. And Reanimator was the most intense experience because it was my first film. And it was fun to just suddenly be in a whole different medium. My background is in live theater, and we've done a lot of plays that involved horror topics, but we're never able to go as far with them as I was able to go with Reanimator. And so that was a particularly exciting film to shoot. It was also done in an incredibly short amount of time, so by the end of it, I mean, it was like, I look back at that now and it was kind of like, I don't know if I'd call it a bad dream or a hallucination, but it's amazing that it was completed at all. We knew that the ratings board would never, ever approve of what we were doing, and so the decision was made to release the movie without a rating, which was a very courageous one today, because as any distributor will tell you, a movie that is unrated has got about a 20th, will reap about a 20th of what it would get if it were an R-rated film. So it's a decision that you make knowing that you're going to lose money on. But I think it was made by Brian Yuzma in favor of the integrity of the film, knowing that this movie made sense only if it were unrated, and that to cut it down you would end up with a travesty like the R-rated film version of it. And what I couldn't figure out, what made things even more absurd, was that the R-rated version was done for video release, which, in my experience, had always been the reverse, that when you released something on video, you were able to put back sequences that the MPAA had taken out. In our case, they wanted an R-rated version of the video for some reason, and probably for broadcast TV or whatever. But what no one counted on was that once you get a rating on a movie by the MPAA, that is the only version of the film that can be shown. So once they got an R-rated version on Reanimator, the unrated version could no longer be screened in a movie theater. And that I found very upsetting, and was able to go to the MPAA and ask them to reverse themselves on that and to allow, since there were no theatrical versions of the R-rated picture anyway, for them to allow the unrated film to be shown in midnight screenings and so forth, which they did.
The secret of life and death, and here you are, trysting with the bubble-headed co-ed. You're not even a second-rate scientist.
Oh, Mr. West, I'm actually glad to see you. It saves me the trouble of having to send for you.
Oh, I have a plan.
So do I.
People are fascinated with death because they all are going to die. And horror films are a way of dealing with the idea of death in a way that we can, that can be helpful, it can be very positive, because it is something that bothers everybody, and that in every waking moment, you know, they say that man has created his greatest triumphs and his greatest horrors because of his knowledge that he will eventually die. And so it's a very, very potent force that guides us all the time. Horror films, though, give you a chance, Stephen King says, to rehearse your own death. Horror movies were something that I was not allowed to see when I was a kid, which is probably the reason I'm making them today. Because, of course, you had to sneak out and see them, and they became this sort of forbidden fruit and made them all the more tasty. I started making movies when I was a teenager and used my father's 8mm camera and made some pretty bizarre films, one of them which was called Mental Illness for Fun and Profit. And I guess that's described my life since then. I went to the University of Wisconsin and wanted to get into a film course. At that time there was only one film course at the whole university, and there was a waiting list for it, and I wasn't able to get in. So I took a course in acting, which I thought might come in handy if I wanted to make movies, and I got hooked on theater. And so for the next 15 years, I directed and wrote original plays and formed a theater company called the Organic Theater Company. And we performed on Broadway, and we toured Europe, and we had our work done on PBS, and it was a very successful company. Dolls was not distributed, which is why it did not play particularly well theatrically. It just wasn't shown. In the cities where the movie was actually given a release, it did pretty well. And the reactions of the film critically have been excellent, as well as the videotape rentals have been great. I think what happened with Dolls was that it just got caught in the sort of the end of Empire when they had run out of money to distribute their movies, and that they really gave it a very half-hearted release, unfortunately. Let me tell you a little bit about Robot Jocks, which is the film I just completed and should be coming out this summer. This is a departure for me in that it's not a horror film, it's a science fiction movie. And it is set 100 years after nuclear war, and the world has outlawed war. And so all international disputes are now settled by robot battles, piloted by each nation's champion, who is kind of a single combat warrior. And these robots are 120 feet tall and have lasers and rockets and cannons and have the ability to transform themselves into any fighting machine necessary to win the battle. This is the most ambitious film that Empire ever attempted, and it has the largest budget. It was about a $7 million budget, which for Empire is 4 or 5 times what it normally spends on a movie. It also involved effects, or involves effects, which are comparable to a film like Star Wars. It has a tremendous amount of opticals and model work and so forth. I think working on a technical effects movie does take a lot of your concentration, and you have to keep reminding yourself that what movies are about are people. And you have to make it so that even if you had no effects in the picture at all, it would still be an interesting story, and an audience would still be caught up in the characters. I don't think that special effects can ever carry a movie. And you know, I've seen a lot of wonderful special effects in really bad movies. I've also seen some wonderful movies that had pretty bad special effects, and I would go with the wonderful movie anytime. I'm about to start on a new version of The Pit and the Pendulum, based on Edgar Allan Poe's story. And it will be starring Peter O'Toole and Billy D. Williams and Sherilyn Fenn, who is an exciting new actress who people may remember from Two Moon Junction. It's set in the Spanish Inquisition, like Poe's story, and concerns Torquemada, who is the Grand Inquisitor and was known as the Leonardo da Vinci of torture. And so I think it promises to be one of the more upsetting films I've ever done. The main subject matter is torture, and so it gives me an opportunity to torture an audience for 90 minutes or so.
Hi, I'm Linnea Quigley, and you're watching Gorgon Video Magazine, sucker.
Torture, cruelty, perversity, human suffering, and a damn good sense of humor. That's what makes up the elements of a Penn and Teller show. Gorgon caught up with these horrific tricksters at Penn's New York apartment.
Fuck happy endings. Penn and Teller get killed.
Penn
I'm very far from the camera. Is that on purpose?
and Teller!
And if once in a while I could sweat a bit without makeup, and it could be on my upper lip and on my nose, I'd appreciate that a lot. So keep that in mind when we're working, okay? Thank you. Well, first I want to say that my name is Penn Jillette. It's my partner Teller. We are Penn and Teller. And you're in my home now. This is no stage. I'm not in no gray suit, so act accordingly. This is also not your home either, Teller. So you all treat with respect. So we met and we decided that magic sucked, and we both agreed on that. All that was going around was this pansy-ass Doug Henning stuff, where it just suspend your disbelief. Anything can happen. And we thought that magic should be done skeptically and with a kick-ass attitude, so we got along on that.
Penn said that you would tell us what you two hate about magic.
We have just done a movie called Penn and Teller Get Killed. It's from Warner Brothers. It was directed by Arthur Penn. We started the movie because we wanted to do a movie that would be a little different for all of those people that think that sequels suck. For those who wish that Rambo would step on a claymore and be blown to kingdom come, this is the movie for you.
With the left hand, completely and utterly free, he must look to see what type of knots are tied around his ankles, while avoiding the ever-speeding, ever-descending power drills as I crank them now to 90% of their full velocity. He looks down, flips off both his shoes, freeing his ankles. Now, to go to the chest strap, the same kind of chest strap used to do the criminally insane. He's out of that chest strap even faster than I can say. All that's left is his right wrist. He has both hands, all 10 of his nimble fingers eliminating the one last knot that binds him to the table of death. Still, the drills are only millimeters from vital body parts. He must slide across the table, over the curtain, straighten his tie, and prepare with me to accept your gracious and thunderous applause.
The strange thing about the rating on Penn and Teller Get Killed is it is rated R really only for the word goddamn over and over again and for the violence. There was nothing. I was really surprised. I kind of thought we were going to be a PG.
Carlotta wants some Chinese food. Is that okay with you?
As far as censorship and freedom of speech, it starts with the gore movies. It starts with porno, and as we see this stuff closing up, and all they're doing, it's very, very crystal clear. They're trying to give more power to the half-assed gore movies, to Jason and Michael Myers and the guys that have the studios behind them. And if you've ever worked with a studio, you find out that Jason is a fuck of a good metaphor for who you're going up against. Just this blank hockey mask going, can we have more tits in it? We did a thing for Comic Relief called The Rat Cage, where we explained how people could do a trick by having a card shown to their friend, secretly covering it with bacon grease, shuffling it back into the deck, putting it in the mouth of their partner, having a cage over his head, and then dump about a dozen live rats into the cage, and then the rats would eat away everything except the bacon grease card, which would then be stuck to his head.
Very, very carefully pour the rats into the cage. Now you want to pour them really gently so you don't hurt the rats. I want to point out that once the rats are in the cage, the trick is essentially done. Piece of cake, no more work to do. We are playing at the Wiltern Theater, and Richard Frankel, our producer, has asked me to point out that there are no vermin in our live show. We only use vermin on TV. Well, I bet the card is found by now. Yup. All you gotta do is open the cage and take the credit. Is that your card? The three of clubs from room 101.
The way we did it is pretty interesting. There's an old trick called a daylight seance gimmick, where when you see a magician holding up a cloth like this, and then remarkable things happen underneath the cloth, it's not done with a prehensile penis. It is done by having one of the hands fake. So you've got one hand fake here, and then you reach in under and do all this stuff. So when Teller's holding the box like this, one of these hands is phony, and then he could reach in and squirt the blood around, and also put the little rat that's holding the card, which I forced so cleverly, on his head so the card is there. And the interesting thing is, no one wondered how we got the cards on Teller's head, the proper card on Teller's head, or how we squirted blood. The only thing they wondered about was how we got the rats to not be on Teller's face. And the answer to that is, he just doesn't care. Besides horror, we also like porno very, very much. We're both big fans of that. Also, in my apartment, I have a painting of the devil giving someone's idea of evils to the world. There's a hypodermic needle, there's drugs, and there's a lovely young lady made out of smoke. If you wanted to name 3 gore movies that are real important, I think it would be Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. When Harry Met Sally, a piece of absolute shit. And it's that kind of lack of respect for authority, Gillette, that's going to keep you in trouble your whole fucking life, okay? Shh, quiet over there, stupid. Shut up. Get a job. We're Penn and Teller.
Halloween, it's my favorite holiday, but I like to think of it as the Feast of All Souls, the pagan festival of the dead. Speaking of the dead, who can forget how all those bodies piled up back in 1978, thanks to the murderous Michael Myers in the original, the one that started it all, Halloween. don't it? Now they're up to Halloween 5 with Swiss director Dominique Otenin-Girard.
Oh yes, this film has outrageous suspense sequences. The script was written by Michael Jacobs and myself. Shem Bitterman overlooked it. The ingredients are very powerful. We are talking about a small community in America, very much grounded in Illinois, Haddonfield, a few people. A great character that we have there is a very daring young girl, Tina, who's an independent, a revolutionary in her term, an anarchist, dressed up with shorts and tights and, you know, always quite eccentric and bringing incredible life. We are dealing with the youth of today, very much so, not of the youth of 1978, and it has changed. The pace of the movie is also quite different. It just moves and is relentless.
You sense something? Tell me what you know.
That's all I say.
There's all kinds of special effects artists out there, and some specialize in blood and guts. Some specialize in techno-creations. But there's only one modern-day master of the surreal. Screaming Mad George!
In. Let me show you something. These are the replicas of Carry-On Transformation in Poltergeist 2. Those three sculptures made in the foam latex and then changed within the mechanism. Anyway, this is my last painting. It was supposed to be stereoscopic, three-dimensional paintings, but really my time was so busy and I couldn't really finish it, so this is it. My interest into the gore or that kind of image is more in the creative ideas. You know, for example, those to make something that is not real, but it's so real that people can feel by just watching it. And that element I like about it. And I want to use that into some different elements and idea of it. And I want to have like more surrealistic. This painting is another painting that I wanted to achieve the three-dimensionality on the flat surface. My image is coming from sometimes, yes, daydreams, which is, I think it's a fragment of my consciousness or subconscious, something that I've seen past, or like, you know, I thought something, anything that was interesting, and it kept in my mind, and sometimes when I'm drawing, and oh wow, this is interesting, and then one fragment of the drawing comes out. This painting is my self-portrait. As you can see, there are a lot of hands in it, and then also this head on the back, which is, I think I identify myself. 8th grade, and that's the time when I first went into a library in a school and just looking at the art books and find Dali's paintings in there. The artist influenced me is mainly Dali, and then Max Ernst, of course, and Hans Bellman, and the Bosch and Bruegels, and those are the very major influence on my, you know, art background. And of course, there are so many other fantasy painters. My major influence of the makeup artist, I think it's Rob Bottin and Dick Smith, because of the first things I wanted to getting into this makeup field is the two films. One is The Altered States, and one is The Thing. Those two films really made me interested in this field, because those are the ones that have this surrealistic attitude or surrealistic direction that I wanted to do, can make possible. Sometimes, and especially recently, I've been making so many things for one particular scenes. So that gets me really a difficulty of finishing in a good quality each things. And I don't particularly like doing that kind of scenes too much anymore. But, you know, I like to concentrating on one specific effect, so I can be really responsible for, like, you know, mechanism to finish not the fabrication, finish the cosmetic parts of it too. My special interest is the creativity, or like originality. So I'd like to see people coming up with their very original ideas. You know, because the skills, the makeup skills or effects skills, once you start working in a shop, you eventually get it. And so what I'm looking at is the sculpting skills and the designing skills and the paint skills. And those are the ones that you really should develop yourself, because that's nobody can really teach. Anatomy is one of the most important elements in the special makeup effects, or any art, you know, in anything. And because what we are trying to create is the illusion of something that is not there, or that is not that particular thing, but to make audience believe that is the actual thing. The term surrealistic makeup effects that I start, defining myself in, well, it is still is a part of the special makeup effects. It's coming from the ideas of irrationality, and it's something that is not direct to the story. There is more symbolic meanings in it, and more symbolic objects that, and so completely different object putting together like a collage in Max Ernst things that it makes, it creates the extremely strange feelings, and that's sometimes extremely disturbing. My name, Screaming Mad George, came from the blues singer named Screaming Jay Hawkins. And when I was elementary school, I found his record in a record store, and his song was Constipation Blues. And when I was a kid, I was very much into this, of course, scatologic thing and monster kind of stuff. And when I saw it, I thought, wow, this must be a very interesting record. And I bought it, and the whole song is just I was just, I didn't even understand English at all, but I was like, laughing and laughing and laughing. That really struck me so much. And now when I came to America and I decided to change my name to, from regular name, and I thought Screaming Jay Hawkins, that particular sound really, struck me a lot, and I thought Screaming George is a very good idea. And the mad is something that is a meaning. I always fascinated about the madness. I had a band in New York. The first band is called the Disgusting, and the second one is called the Mad, and the third one is Irrational. But I wanted to have extreme theatrics. Also, the girl with the eyeball head come on the stage, and then I try to rape her, and then she gets to cut off my dick. And so it's something that I wanted to have this gore imagery, but to stage it to be something fantasy rather than, you know, something more unreal. Every show has a really insane deadlines, and like, you know, especially because we wanted to make better than anything else, and better than what we can do. Stay up late, you know, do more work to just so the quality can be higher. To me, instead of cutting up the people, I want to twist them. And so you can have like, not just realistically twisted and just have a little twist and then bone breaks or anything like that, but more like twist it and twist it just like a rubber, but still like you still have the people's expression with it, you know. So you have this impossible things, but you can actually visualizing it as if it's happening.
Howdy, junk lovers, the galloping gourmet here. If you're the typical Gorgon viewer, you like your splatter extremely well done. A little on the moist side? Well, it should surprise a great many of you that a number of extremely effective gore techniques can be produced in the safety and comfort of your own kitchen. So grab a pencil. You may want to write down a couple of these readily available ingredients. Our first feature is that lovely red sauce. That's right. You guessed it, blood. Many effects people keep their blood recipes top secret. We here at Gorgon think that's absurd. Let it bleed is our motto. Today I'll be giving you a recipe for corn syrup-based blood. For this, you will need the following. 1 bottle of Cairo corn syrup. Now, light or dark syrup will affect your blood's tone, of course. For accuracy's sake, arterial blood, say from a stab to the heart, would be much darker than venous blood from a slit wrist. Second, you will need 1 bottle of red food coloring. And lastly, 1 small bottle of green food coloring. Okay, we got our ingredients. Let's get to work. Now, you take the corn syrup and pour in the bottle of red food coloring thusly. Got it in there. You put the lid on very quickly. Invert your bottle several times. Shake it up good so you can mix that dye. That's right, just like that. Okay, once your dye is evenly distributed, 1 or 2 drops of green food coloring will suffice. There's just 1 or 2 to darken your blood's hue. Put the cover on it. Mix it up good. Shake it, kids. Shake it. Okay, that's perfect. Now what's great about this stuff is it's okay to put in your mouth. It tastes okay, but a word of warning. This stuff stains just like the real thing. How's that for accuracy's sake? Well, now that we have our bottle of blood, let's try it out. Oh, Magenta, my dear, 1 order of your tastiest waffles. Oh, thank you. Could I have some maple syrup, please?
Oh, no. We're all out of maple syrup.
Maple syrup? Oh, no. What'll we do? And remember, this is the galloping gourmet saying, don't eat it if it screams when you bite it.
Paragon Arts International has a remarkable history of horror, considering the company's been making movies for just a few years. Walter Justin and his wife Pat started Paragon from scratch. Their only wish at the time was just to hang in there. But it's obvious to Gorgon that Paragon's already on its way to becoming a giant in the genre.
Where you going? The party's just begun.
My whole reason for being in this business is to entertain people. I'm Walter Jostin. I founded the company with my wife, Paragon Arts International, in 1984. And we have produced 4 pictures. I've been the executive producer on all of them. My role is pretty much to oversee the creative and the financial aspect of all that's involved with making a movie and then distributing it. The whole family's in on it. Well, the whole family. I have a 7-year-old son, and at this point he's not involved, but my wife is. I have 2 brothers who are, and I still have 2 sisters that are back east. They're not involved with the company.
The one thing about Paragon is it feels like a family, and everyone wears whatever hats are necessary to get the films done. Like any family, you have arguments and you have problems, but I think the one thing that separated our company from a lot of other independents and other companies is that quite a large group of people have stuck together for a long time. I really convinced Walter and Kevin believed in me that we could make a film that wasn't just made for the foreign markets or for, you know, straight to video, but something that everyone could get behind and could be a real class production.
It was during Witchboard more of that camaraderie, but that was basically because most of the crew and were people I brought with me from film school. So, you know, in that respect, it was kind of that film school feeling. Walter, at that point, really didn't know much about making movies. So, not that we did either, but at least we'd had a formal education, so we thought we knew what we were doing.
What's happened in the last few years, there was an incredible glut of production. Everybody tried to make low-budget films, you know, $1 million movies, basically, because of the video thing. They thought that they would be guaranteed to get their money back, and it didn't happen, and this glut just flooded the market. And the audience now, they can almost smell a B-movie a mile away, and they don't want to see a B-movie. They would rather, they know it'll be on video, and they can see it on video. They want to only go to see the big, spectacular films.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving.
Most production companies in Hollywood, they start up, they get a pre-production office going, they get, you know, some room somewhere and get a production going, they make a movie, finish the movie, and then they're gone. But Paragon is here. I mean, this, you know, lavish offices, they're here all the time, so they don't have to throw their movies out on the market until they're finished with them and then until they're ready.
I think that we're a successful company, but each film is so important in determining how successful you are at any one moment. Fortunately, right now, I feel successful because Night Angel is a film that I think we can be very proud of, more than any of our other films, even.
Night Angel.
I thought, who's this goofy-looking sucker? He's not going to get the job. And I looked at his reel, and it was great, and he, you know...
Night Angel is a film which is going to disturb and which is going to open some minds. It's a very solid piece of filmmaking, if I can call it that way. It tells a clear line story. It's the eternal triangle which is inside the film. Man, 2 women, good and evil.
I did quite a few effects for Night Angel. It's the second film I did for Paragon Arts. Hell. The guy goes to hell at one point, and we did all kinds of hellish images, and that was probably the funnest thing. We did a lot of very interesting stuff on that. It was pretty much a free-for-all, like a berserk circus kind of atmosphere. We did a guy whose eyes pop out of his head.
The courage Paragon Art took, the risk they took in hiring me to direct their feature. I feel that they're very pleased today. That's what they tell me, and I feel the result also is paying off. But they had that kind of open-mindedness, which I salute.
Yes, I believe Paragon Arts, I believe their next film is going to be Witchboard 2.
Witchboard 2 is the next picture that we're doing.
I'm really hoping that we work on Witchboard 2 together. I think that we'll always do horror films, both for the audiences and for ourselves as a company.
Any time in my life that I've let someone else control what I'm doing, it hasn't worked out as well as when I'm doing it. But that's not to say that at some point in time we're not going to run into people or organizations that are going to be able to take us to the next level. But so far as the way I've been working, I've been real happy with what we've been able to do.
Where you going? The party's just begun.
Make sure you check out that candy. You never know what's in the inside.
Zap Comics held their 20th anniversary bash this year at a gallery called Psychedelic Solution in New York. It was a madhouse affair of wild people paying homage to the out-of-control work of comic artists like Robert Crumb and Victor Moscoso. But Gorgon was especially taken by the gruesome comics art of F. Clay Wilson.
That bothered me a little as a kid, and as an adult I could do it my way.
Sex is one of my favorite subjects, and it's fun to draw about, and I'm a kind of a sex-obsessed guy. And
yeah, I took acid, you know. Took a lot of acid in Kansas. You know, LSD about once a week, you know. So in that sense, so psychedelicized in the Midwest. I've never taken drugs in my life. I did Pirates because in the Midwest it's like romantic, you know, it's like I want to get away from this place. Cornfields, right? Quote William Burroughs, "So cosas de la vida, these are the things of life." Right? Why not, you know? Trying to make fun of it, you know, like drawing real violent stuff as a satire, you know, real sexual stuff, which is like an old thing. Just, I mean, I'd better be hated than ignored in a way, like extreme reactions, you know. Just trying to make fun of perversion or something. Why not call it pervert pirates, you know? It's a joke, right? But like people dug it, you know. And I think the Trigger Demon evolved from Ivan and Igor, who were like twin brother vampire bats. They're short, squatty guys with little pointed ears and teeth and stuff. And I think maybe the Trigger Demon came from that, you know. And dreams too, and
I was a wimp, and so I did a lot of drawing to avoid having to deal with, you know, harsher aspects of reality. And comics was the only influence around that, you know, was big in my childhood. So I I don't know. The title just came from people used to talk about being zapped on drugs or something. I don't know. And
Crumb asked Griffin and myself if we wanted to be in the next issue, and S. Clay Wilson showed up in town at that time and got into the next issue, which was Zap 2. You know, as they say, the rest is history.
It seems like 20 years went by like that, you know?
Zap.
Yeah, really. It's like 67, it was like yesterday. It's probably always drawing, keep drawing, you know, like my life's work. I like a good horror film, but I don't think there's that many good horror films. You know, like the Halloween stuff and Freddy and all that shit. I like more absurd stuff. Texas Chainsaw Massacre I like a lot. Or like the Tenet, the Polanski's films I like a lot. I like horror films. I don't think there's that many good horror films being made. I like Eraserhead a lot. I thought it was a good horror film. It was like funny and scary. I think humor and scary and sex are like pretty close together. You know, at what point does things get, you know, funny or scary or sexy? I mean, that's kind of like thin lines between all this, depending on how the film's done, you know. I think the 80s are more repressive now than it was like in 67. It kind of reminds me of the 50s. It's got, you know, an atmosphere of repression going on. So I think the Zap comic thing, underground comics in general, are probably more radical in this atmosphere of the 80s than they were in 1967, where things were much looser, you know. I'm just going to keep doing it until I drop fucking dead, you know. I'm not sure I can do anything else, you know. I forgot my carpentry skills by now, probably.
I like drawing and sitting in my studio alone and have complete control over the final product, you know. The only thing I don't do is print the thing and distribute it, you know. Everything else in those comics is completely the way I want it. Nobody makes me change a word, a letter, a line. That's why I stay with underground comics.
Anyway, we've always been doing Zap. The interest in Zap has dropped off over the years, but now it's starting to pick up again.
Like, keep doing it, you know.
I have to get it out. If I didn't, I'd be some kind of psychopath. And fortunately, I somehow found a way to get this across to an audience, and they accept it.
I don't know what else to do. You know? It's like therapy, too. And a profession. Like, keep doing it, you know.
Well, I'm Alex Winter. You want to see the cutting edge in rap music, rock and roll, politics, art, comedy? Check out Impact Video Magazine. It's so good, we can't show it to our mom.
Anyone can collect baseball cards, but it takes a truly warped mind to come up with some of these collectible decks. Have you seen Freak Cards? The deck of 46 shows you everything from real-life Siamese twins to pinheads from the folks at Shelltone. And take a look at these Jonestown Death Cult cards from Carnage Press. The deck is a sick look back at Reverend Jim Jones and his Kool-Aid party from some of today's toughest artists. Finally, for the bubblegum chewing kid in all of us, the bloody but artsy Dinosaurs Attack series from the Topps Company. Forget those toy store pterodactyls. These dinosaurs are out for blood. Ah!
Greetings, Gorehounds. I'm Gore Gazette's Rick Sullivan, and this is the special Halloween edition of Gorgon Video Magazine. Welcome to Rick's Reviews. Overweight girls of the world, beware. A psychotic madman, known only as John Doe, is tainting cartons of chocolate ice cream with lethal doses of rat poison. Should you get a spoonful of this taste sensation, you'll gag, choke, and eventually vomit up your own guts, as we'll see in this juicy clip from Deadly Obsession. John Doe, actor Joe Paradise plays a formidable maniac, but director Anand Singh drags his cat-and-mouse game out to the point of sheer tedium. Deadly Obsession clocks in at 3 skulls as a commendable stalk and slash quickie. Just in time for Halloween season, HBO Video is releasing 10 of the most gruesome horror classics of all time for only $14.99 each. This is a Ghouls Night Out promotion and features such gore favorites as Dawn of the Dead, The Bat People, and one of my top 10 picks, Return of the Living Dead. Let's watch sultry scream queen Linnea Quigley as she performs her necrophilic grave dance in this throbbing scene.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed?
Never.
Do you ever wonder about all the different ways of dying, you know, violently? And wonder, like, what would be the most horrible way to die?
Try not to think about dying too much.
Well, for me, the worst way would be for a bunch of old men to get around me and start biting and eating me alive.
I see.
First, they would tear off my clothes.
Let's get some light over here. Trash is taking off her clothes again.
Hey, let's get those ropes right.
I dance among the dead, but very soon I'll be the scent of blood instead.
Even the newest members to the world of Gordon know that Dan O'Bannon's 1985 black comedy zombie splatterthon is one of the most twisted films ever released. So it comes as no surprise that Return of the Living Dead gets the highest Gorgon rating of 4 skulls. Let's take a trip through the mind of someone deranged. Former X-rated porn pioneer Chuck Vincent brings us this low-budget remake of Roman Polanski's Repulsion. Featuring an all-star hardcore cast carefully hidden behind assumed names, Deranged spins the tale of a pregnant, schizophrenic woman and her psychotic sexual delusions. The action takes place one weekend when she's left alone in her claustrophobic New York apartment.
But I'll make some.
Honey, don't worry, sweetheart. It's only a bad dream. Joey.
Joycey, Joycey, we're not a bad dream. We're not even a nightmare. We just want you with us, always, forever.
Okay. It's okay, sweetheart. Okay? It's you and me. Come on. Come on. Let's go. It's so easy, Joycey. See?
It's too bad that grisly gore sequences like those are few and far between. Deranged is mostly dull monologues and incomprehensible flashbacks that will leave horror fanatics snoring on their couches long before the end of this turkey. Only one skull for Deranged, which deserves to gather dust on the video shelves. For years, gorehounds have been waiting for the video release of Suspiria, Dario Argento's 1976 classic hybrid of style and scuzz. The wait is over. Magnum Entertainment has secured the rights for a pre-Halloween video release. Non-stop shocks await poor Jessica Harper when she arrives at an eerie European dance academy and is soon drawn into a web of evil involving witches, bats, murder, and a room full of maggots that like to drop into the mouths of sleeping girls. As you can see, Argento's movies, though packed with state-of-the-art atrocities, maintain a surreal style that puts them far and above average horror offerings. Suspiria gets my highest rating, 4 skulls, for its long-delayed video release. That's it for this segment of Rick's Reviews. See you in 2 months, Gorehounds. Until then, stay twisted.
Greetings, Splatterhounds, the Galloping Gourmet here with another recipe for ya. This recipe creates a blood that is in many ways more realistic than corn syrup-based blood. This stuff dries fantastically, cracking and darkening just like the real thing. For this you'll need the following: 1 squeeze bottle of chocolate syrup, 1 bottle of red food coloring, a little bit of water, and a plastic container such as this one to mix the whole mess together in. Okay, now we're going to combine the above ingredients to a satisfactory consistency as follows. You put a little bit of that water And my favorite, the red food coloring. Pour that stuff in there. You put your cap on. That's right. Shake it, kids. Shake it. But a word of warning to you. The combination of chocolate syrup with red food coloring results in a maximum stain combination. It'll make your mom's kidney stones quadruple in size. So be sure to wear Salvation Army rags when playing around with this stuff. Okay, kids? This has been the Galloping Gourmet saying, don't eat it if it screams when you bite it.
You know, even Frankenstein had a bride. So I guess it's no surprise that the animator's getting one too. Director Brian Yuzma invited Gorgon down to the set of Bride of Reanimator. Check it out.
And they're just doing extremely gross things to human bodies in there.
Lots of blood. Lots of blood.
Well, they kid me about saying more blood, so...
Lots of blood, more blood, and more blood, and more blood, smoke, and then just, yeah.
Hi, I'm Brian Yuzma, director of the Bride of Reanimator.
I'm Tom Renoni, the special effects coordinator.
My name's Tony Dublin. My company's Dublin Effects, and I'm responsible for the dog effects and the finger creatures.
I'm the still photographer, and I'm just editing through the film we shot a couple days ago.
My name is Scott Bright.
And your position?
I'm the second AD on the film, which is second assistant director.
My name is Jeffrey Combs.
And your character?
And I play Dr. Herbert West.
I play Dr. Carl Hill, the headless wonder, or bodiless wonder. My job is to clean the blood off the lips.
I don't know. Yeah. They're still doing the lighting, so no one can just come.
You don't want it too fast. I like what you did. Yeah, that's good.
Marking.
No moving. Action!
Get back! How dare you!
Let's get the guts on screen, you know. Being an old Herschel Gordon Lewis fan, what the hell? I say go for the gusto. And I'm real sick of this trend of horror films that are coming out lately that, you know, that are not really delivering. And the current trend is making things weirder, not gorier, you know, in films, which is pretty neat, you know. And I kind of feel that Rob Bottin's work in The Thing was sort of a catalyst in this direction. These guys are the artists, K&B, MMI, Mad George, and Tony Dublin. I mean, it's neat being here or working, you know, with them. But as far as everything executed, it's these guys' work, you know. But it's great. It's great seeing it and being part of it and making sure that, you know, coordinating it and being on set, helping with it, you know, and being a fan as well. It's tremendous.
One of the reasons that I became an actor was that it's an art form that requires a team in order to create the whole. And here is a perfect example of that. And I'm very excited about it. And I look forward to doing it. I look forward to reading the next script. I look forward to doing the next project. The great difference is for an actor in trying to take a Broadway performance and putting it on film is impossible because it's so much bigger. And also the difficulty for an actor is to try to take his performance and bring it down to the intimacy of a camera. And However, this genre of horror films, you can still be bigger than life, and it's still not enough. I mean, you can go overboard and it won't hurt the film at all. So your performance can still be very theatrical in this type of film work. And that always intrigues me to be able to do that. And it also, I like being hammy sometimes.
I was just looking around this room, and this is the basement, and we're at the end of it, and I'm running through how much we've done in here, and it's remarkable. And I'm more interested in how to make the character live and how to make scenes work, because it's not just this effect and then that effect, and then, oh, let's go to this one, and then, ooh, let's get that one. I'm more interested in making the weave work so that those things, are within a backdrop of good characters and a good story, and not the only thing that people talk about.
I think that, yeah, the being scared is something of a kind of an addiction, I think. It's hard to get scared anymore in a movie. You always look for it, but it doesn't seem to happen anymore. But I think the themes, I think kids are real interested in horror because they deal with kind of sex and death, and kids need to think about that, and horror tends to tell them about it. I try to be aware of sexism and racism and classism in the stories I invent. It's funny, but, young girls in danger are it's more involving than young boys in danger. It could be that that's an inbred sexism. I certainly think it's arguably it is. In Society, for example, I was very happy to put a young boy in danger. If you'll notice, instead of a girl being threatened by society, it was a boy. Now, I don't know that those same people who accuse From Beyond or Reanimator of being sexist might not find society to be sexist. They potentially could. I try to be aware of those things, but I'm also interested in entertainment and like to tell stories. And somebody's got to be in danger, and bad guys have to do bad things. So I don't know how else you can have bad guys doing bad things to someone without making victims.
Lots of blood in the show.
Hey, Chino, we're going to need those intestines here by 3 p.m. Yeah, the chewy kind. Sun-baked. That's right.
The theme of this picture expands beyond the original, and for that reason we've had to create much more different things. In the original picture, Herbert West was concerned with extending the life or reanimating dead tissue. And in this one, he's concerned with creating new life by assembling parts.
This movie may have a different tone than the other one, but it'll certainly be, I think that it'll be just as interesting.
Yeah, better than the first. I mean, the first was great, and everybody loved it. But I think that we've improved upon it, so we've taken it further.
Oh yeah, I like the way he's playing it very campy. A lot of humor.
I think that this one has more humor in it. It's geared towards a more humorous aspect in certain respects. Although the first one was very, very funny as well.
Man, this is what filmmaking's all about.
Well, I think the best thing that you can do is come out and work on a movie. You know, you have to kind of do it for free for the first one.
If you work hard and work extremely hard, you progress.
Yeah, don't assume that all you have to do is come to L.A. and say, I'm an actor.
But if you come into this business seeking fame and fortune, I think you'd be better off on Wall Street.
No, I make horror movies because I like them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do anything else. I mean, it's different every day. It's different every film. You know, you work on one film, you go to the next.
It has its moments.
Beats working for a living.
You sickos, you.
Hey, you sick puppies. This is Wes Craven, and you're watching Gorgon Video.
It's here! It's a creepy hand!
Creepy hand. Come on. Get real, Candy.
Yes. Oh. Germ protection.
What? Excuse me, do you mind? We're kind of busy. Jeez. Well, while Candy and me...
Candy and I.
While Candy and me get a little more respectable, which in Candy's case could take a little time. Why don't you guys tune into one of our favorite scary movies, Horror Hotel. Pretty scary stuff, huh? Me and Candy here.
Candy and I.
Candy and me, we kind of missed out on a lot of the juicier parts because we were kind of busy.
Busy doing what?
Oh, jeez, women. Can't live with them. Can't live with them. Take my girlfriend, please. Oh, jeez, Candy, come on now. Just one feel.
All right.
Nah, it was just the beating of my heart, Princess.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Unless, of course, it could be the creepy head!
Go give me a Coke. Oh, God, would you please go give me a Coke?
Hey, come on, Candy, if you're not careful, you're gonna blow up like a balloon again.
Make it a cherry Coke.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, I thought he'd never leave. Let a guy take you to the drive and he thinks he owns you. You know what I mean? Finally. Now we can see another fine example of the cinematic arts that emerged from the B-movie, sci-fi genre, The Devil's Partner. I myself have always loved to watch the early traces of film symbology and semantics as they relate to icons and film language that would later find itself expressed in mainstream cinema. As a matter of fact, if we were to interpret this beyond the mere Metzian approach, I guess we will have to continue this conversation later. Roll 'em.
Afraid of a little blood. I want to show you something.
Dream I got out of this town.
sweetie pie, that was great. You know, I never knew I could be so fulfilled. I mean, with cult classics from Sinister Cinema.
And if you'd like to be fulfilled, too, or by Sinister Cinema, that is, just write or call
Sinister Cinema, P.O. Box 777, Pacifica, California, 94044.
Hey, look at the words, guys. The words. Jeez. 415-359-3292.
See, that wasn't so hard.
What do you mean, Candy?
Oh, geez, Louise.
Oh, women. You can't live with them. You can't live with them.
We know there's a lot of you budding home movie makers out there, and now it's your chance to contribute to Gorgon. We call it Home Horrors from Hell, and we want you to send us those gory videos and those short films you've been making. Understand? Our first home video comes from David Juskow of Astoria, New York. It's a sick little clip of his cannibalistic horror musical called Splatter Girls. Check it out.
Daddy, where are you, man? I'm here early. I figured I'd help out. Yo, where'd you want that blood?
Blow? I deny any blow. I'm in the pound paper bag for crying out loud. Where the electorate can't see me. Ellen?
Where are you? Come on, man.
I'm in the brown paper bag. Take off the bag. Don't poke me, just grab me. Take it off.
Why must my thirst for blood come all the time? Even when I throw a party for friends of mine. But it means some sort of cheap vintage wine. Or maybe I like eating cats. Look, Chauncey, dinner for three. Well, she certainly got guts, doesn't she? Could you die? Oh, you can say that again. Why must my thirst for blood come all the time? Even when I throw a party for friends of mine. Good things are cheap, sort of vintage wine. Or maybe I like eating
What's the deal with the party, man?
That wraps up this issue of Gorgon. We hope we're everything you want a video horror magazine to be. Once again, let's go out with a scream. Roll those trailers. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Happy Halloween, suckers.
In a house of mysteries.
This hotel seems to have quite a history, Mrs. Gallagher.
Who are you people?
A research team with special powers.
My God.
She's experiencing the past.
Because we are all joined by our thoughts.
Has uncovered an ancient secret.
I have something I want to show you.
Metaphysically speaking, I killed myself. But they are playing with an evil force.
What would you do with the power?
You can't save her, Alex. They have given life to a deadly power.
We're all in danger.
And now a box of little toys
I think someone's in the room, Frank.
has become a gang of little terrors. Pinhead, Blade, Ms. Leach, Jester, and Tunneler. Irene Miracle, Paul LeMat, Barbara Crampton, and William Hickey as The Puppet Master.